Business over drinks. Business over drinks. This is Dave and Tom. This is business over drinks.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Business Over Drinks. My name is Teng and I'm calling in from Singapore.
Hello, everyone. My name is David. I'm calling in from sunny, well, not so sunny Australia. Good evening.
So, before we let our guest speak, we're just going to do a really quick introduction because we're going to talk about something pretty cool right now, which we really haven't touched on before, which is the metaverse, right? So we've got I'm going to call him a metaverse expert, even though I have a feeling he's going to say he isn't. But we've got Edmund Shern on the show today. So Edmund actually has about 25 years experience in entertainment and marketing. So he's worked in Singapore, Hollywood, Tokyo, and China. So basically everywhere that's important except for Hollywood. That's not important. So he started in MTV as a studio director and then went on to lead teams in OgilvyInteractive. And then he works in comics, games, anime, and film. So basically everything every single guy listening to a podcast wants to do.
Including
He's
me.
actually
Yes.
yeah. Dave's a big fan already. He's even co-authored a fantasy book actually with a famed Final Fantasy artist, Yoshitaka Amano, which is kind of cool. So he works primarily and is consultant for major entertainment brand in licensing and trans media strategy, and he actually works as an advisor and a co-owner. So while he was doing this, while he was serving as advisor and co-owner for a micro influencer marketing startup called X10 Media. Now that Web3 is kind of a big thing everywhere, I mean, if you may or may not have heard about Web3, he's actually working with a new startup to produce music-based events and experiences in the metaverse. And that startup is called 99 Misfits. At the same time, Edmund has his own company called Velvet Engine, where they outsource. It's an outsourced company for developing and executing transmedia projects in gaming, film, TV, and such. Right, so he works all across the world. Basically,
He
Edmund's
doesn't
really,
sound
really
busy at all.
no. Edmund barely does anything. Let's be fair. Edmund and I have actually worked together when he was in a gaming company and I was in the gaming company at the same time. We won't mention the company because I'm probably going to say something bad about it, and then they're going to come after me because they tend to do that sometimes. So I'm just going to say nameless company that we work together.
It's a big company, and dude, the mouse you gave me from them was really nice. It was a good mouse.
Thanks, man. Let's shut him out. Let's shut him out right now. And so everyone, welcome Edmund to the show.
Hey, thanks everyone. Nice to see you again. Nice to speak with you again. And yes, I'm not an expert. I'm a misfit. I'm a metaverse misfit.
I mean, let's be honest, right? I don't think anyone's really an expert in the metaverse because it's so flippin' new, and it hasn't reached its final form, basically, right? It's like a Pokemon that's in mid transition, basically.
Yeah.
We're not there yet. Yeah, we're not there yet. But I think in terms of what we know right now, you're probably one of the best people to actually speak to about it, right?
Yeah.
So we're gonna do it anyway. Don't worry, Edmund. No matter what you say, we're just gonna do it anyway. So
Yay.
you might as well just agree. So we're gonna make this real quick because I don't think we did this for one of our last podcasts, but just want to share really quickly what I'm drinking because I want to shout out the guys at Peninsula Cider. So they do like gluten vegan ciders, and then I'm drinking their ginger beer. Actually, it's really really cool. It's based in Mornington, in the state of Victoria, and they are amazing. We bought a bunch when we were there on a road trip just in May in 2022. Dave, what are you drinking, man?
I'm drinking ginger beer also from vodka, soda, and not sure exactly how you call this. I think it's
Ampersand Projects. I think that's the name of the company. Ampersand Projects.
Okay. Yep, Ampersand Projects, ginger beer. It's pretty good. Really easy to drink. Has a bit of spice. I'm enjoying it. And actually, Tong and I drank a lot of these when he was visiting me when I was getting married, and we had a lot of good memories. If we can still remember them.
No, we didn't actually. Edmund, what about yourself? Are you drinking anything?
I am drinking organic kombucha with mango passion, and I forgot it was fizzy, and I opened it and it bubbled over my desk, and I quickly cleaned it up.
That sounds like the most 2022 combination of words, organic and kombucha. You know, can
It's
you add
true.
yogurt to
It's
that
true.
afterwards as well?
I'm just a slave to trends. I'm very
But it's
It's
susceptible
true.
to advertising.
So Edmund's having a sourdough sandwich after this as well, so it's going to be really cool. He baked it himself during during the pandemic.
Sounds like a good idea.
So anyway, we're gonna jump straight into Edmund because I don't think we want to keep you for too long. You sound basically everything we read. You just sound really busy. So I'm gonna start off real easy, and then we're just gonna kind of like riff off some of the topics and based on your responses and stuff, right? So
Go for it.
maybe you can just give us kind of like an insight or in the simplest form, right? What is the metaverse?
I don't really know. It's not really in its final form, but what we do right now is, well, let's not get into that yet. But Metaverse for me is a place where people can come in and interact with each other in a digital space. And there are many versions of this digital space. There's so various digital spaces that can interconnect, and hopefully we'll see a multiverse of metaverses that we can
Okay.
travel, through and that kind of thing. That's my vision. I'm sure there's a lot more to it. And point of clarification for the projects we're doing right now, we're focused on the I would say Web 2.3 rather than Web 3, because we don't yet deal with the NFTs and the blockchain element. So just 1/3 of the the 3 elements in Web 3.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, Web3 also kind of isn't in its final form right now, as it is. It's kind of still, it's still kind of blossoming, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So for those who don't know, what is Web3? Is that just Can you explain it? Because actually I have no idea.
I think Web3 is a term people.
I was watching Dave. So what is Web3? And then he was trying to say something, but he couldn't. That's usually how it goes with most of these conversations.
I think there's a vision of. I think to understand Web3, you need to understand Web 1 and 2, right? So Web 1 was static brochureware kind of web pages, the .com. And then Web 2 was social media, where people interacted more. The level of interactivity was much higher, to the point where it became, something you used daily, every waking moment in the toilet, things like that. Web 3 is going to be the next level of interaction, where you are going to be even more immersed in it, and it's going to be even more of your life, but it's also going to be more comprehensive in what it touches. So there are some people that are pushing, that believe that Web3 is all about decentralization, and I think there's some of that, especially with crypto and NFTs. Personally speaking, I do feel that decentralization, some of it sounds nice on paper, but some of it is still problematic. Just in terms of every time you see there's a take the case of NFTs now. Somebody had put up his NFTs for collateral, and when something went wrong, what happened? He went to the court and asked the court to take action. What's that? That's a centralized solution that you're seeking to a decentralized problem. Talk about Seth Green, that just had
losing his Bored Ape NFT, right? Yeah,
right, or hijacked, or whatever they called it, and he had developed a whole show around it. What's the solution for that? We don't know. Maybe it's a hybrid thing. Like China is doing centralized decentralization. It's maybe there's something, I don't know.
Oh, I mean, with their crypto, with the digital
with the blockchain
and stuff.
Yeah. where it's
It's
where
it's
there's
interesting. It's interesting what they're doing. It doesn't fully make sense because I think they're trying to get the benefits of something without the risk of it,
yeah
which is a bit odd. But okay.
yeah
Um, I've got a weird question. So this one, I don't think we actually spoke about anything related. But one thing struck me that when you were explaining how it's kind of potentially the new digital of web experience for everyone, Web3,
mm-hmm,
right?
mm-hmm,
And NFTs, metaverse, all those things kind of on the same space. One of the industries that's kind of a precursor for this, for every single change in the world that has come from a technological standpoint, at least, has
mm-hmm,
been the porn industry. Oddly
mm-hmm.
enough, because with consumption of media, porn kind of is always the innovator because they're always looking. It's such a huge industry. They're always looking for things
Yeah,
that are new and different, right? Betamax versus VHS versus all the stuff was actually driven by porn. Are
yeah, they're always
we?
looking for
Ha-
opportunities, ways they can get
yeah,
away with stuff.
and they're willing to invest in it because they kind of pioneer a lot of that. What you see as normal now, they
hmm
pioneered
Was
that, right?
was Betamax really started by porn?
No, so the battle was between the different formats, and it was
Yep.
decided by which format the porn industry would choose.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so it was a lot of it was decided by that. So again, they weren't the sole deciding factor, but it
Mm,
was a huge factor because if they adopted it, we're talking about billions and billions of these being produced just to hold what goes out every month, right? So they kind of decide the future and direction of a lot of media
mm.
and the platforms and the media and stuff that we use, right? Have you, I'm not asking actually, so I got to phrase this really carefully, Edmund, because I don't want to say that Edmund, in
Tony
your
wants to know
research in
about.
porn.
Do you have any good websites? No.
No, but have you heard, or have you seen anything that kind of is an indicator from that industry, from the adult industry?
I thought you were going to ask me if I've seen any porn. I was going to not answer that.
Yeah.
Um, well,
No, none of us have.
we've seen kind of dabblings. I mean, I'm not an expert in this area. I honestly haven't looked into this aspect, but we've seen things like Irene Dow, which
Hmm.
was clearly based on sex appeal and
Hmm.
titillating fans, who are buying the NFTs in the hopes of, I don't know, maybe meeting her or
Yeah.
something like
Yeah.
that. So there's at least in the mainstream we do see bits of that. Um, that's a good question. I don't know. We haven't seen a porn metaverse project, not that I know of yet. Are there porn
Oh,
NFTs? I think there probably are. Are
I
we
think
sure?
no. I definitely know that there are porn NFTs, right? But
Mm.
I haven't seen it become mainstream as yet. But I'm sure there's a porn metaverse somewhere. I'm sure there has to be.
there's a niche for you right there, Tone. If it's
Yeah,
not
no, because
mainstream,
they like 3D tech, right? And 3D video has become so prevalent now, and like what you're able to do is creepy as hell.
Yeah,
The porn metaverse
yeah.
must exist. If
What I
not,
what
I'm
I
just gonna
did
quit my job and be really rich.
what I did see in the last couple of days was an article about some inappropriate behavior on Roblox. It was
Mm,
some metaverse thing where this lady went in and she got sexually harassed. They said rape, digital rape or whatever it is,
yes,
and then they showed
yes,
a
yeah.
picture in the article that was like a Roblox character without clothes, and it was pixelated, and I was like, I don't understand the point of pixelating a Roblox character, even if it's new. But anyway, yeah.
Oh,
and that's the
Uh,
main question that comes out of this conversation. Why did they pixelate it? Should do a deep dive, like a
yeah.
40-minute deep dive into that.
Isn't it
we
already
should actually.
pixelated? Anyway, that's a philosophical question.
Is that the
Um,
one? Because I saw a court case, like a virtual reality court case happening, and was it
no,
about that?
it wasn't a
No.
virtual reality thing. It
Mm.
was a
Mm.
metaverse space, and she was going around, and there was some creepy user that was virtually
Harassing her,
his
yeah?
avatar was
Tongue.
kind of touching her and doing stuff to her character,
Yeah.
which is just, I mean, no one should have to deal with that kind of stuff even in the
Yeah.
virtual world.
What can the metaverse actually be? Like in your mind, where do you see the metaverse in a stage close to majority or maturity?
Um, let me tell you from the music point of view, because this is what we've been doing. So, and this is a quick segue to plug my what we're doing with the metaverse. So I think the metaverse is about community and experiencing things as a community. Um, in and there have been a lot of things in games that have led up to it. For me, the
Hmm.
metaverse is more from the game side of things. So you
Yep.
have game platforms where like if you go even way back to World of Warcraft, where some people just want to hang out and they don't want to do quests and they don't want to fight anything. They just want to meet people in the World of Warcraft as a character and
Yeah.
just hang around and talk and walk around, stuff like that. And then we've even seen stuff like cozy sims, which aren't like really challenging but just stuff to do.
Hmm.
um and then on the media side, i I once came across somebody introduced me to a video platform that was big in Japan before YouTube really became big. So they were number one for quite a while, and then now YouTube's number one. But it was kind of like YouTube, except that on the video screen you also saw comments from the people watching and emoticons and stuff like that, like at the bottom third of the screen. And I would look at it and go, why do people prefer this over just a clean video? And I realized after that it was because they were you had the sense of community when you watch that and you see all the comments together, and that means something to people, especially the new generation that are native to all these
Hmm.
kinds of technologies. So all this kind of comes to there's a convergence of all these various ideas, and and there's also the convergence of something called the experience economy that's happening
Yep.
now. So the basic theory is that Starbucks is an experience. You don't go to Starbucks for just coffee. It's not about the coffee. It's about the packaging, the bells and whistles, the decor, how they call your name, and all that. That's a whole brand experience, and that's why Starbucks is special versus cup of coffee in the corner coffee shop, and why you pay so much more for it. So the metaverse is an experience. It's a way of interacting with you know people in your whatever community you're in, and then it's a way that you as part of a community can then go and whatever work or collaborate or consume entertainment, things like that.
Hmm.
Have I gone off on a total tangent? I don't know. Metaverse
No,
No.
I
gets
mean,
me going that
I
way.
think
Yeah.
I think it makes sense, and I think maybe where we need to where how I would summarize it is it's kind of like an intersection between open world gaming, kind of where you can go and like interact, meet, kind of create your
Mm-hmm.
own little community, a guild, basically.
Yeah.
It's a mix of if you've ever streamed any sports event on any of these illegal streaming sites, you can have this little chat function there where you're
Mm-hmm.
basically saying so and so sucks, I hate this, and your mom's a big fat slag, all the stuff coming out there. Reddit, which is where you have your own
Mm.
community, but it's a text based one, and probably a mix of some other stuff that I'm not aware of. It's
Yeah.
just kind of all melded together, right? Because it's an experience that they're trying to bring the sensory aspect of it, your
So
touch and
is
feel
it like
thing that maybe
you're
they're missing.
wearing is metaverse like is a picture of metaverse in the future, as in we're wearing VR goggles and we're all there virtually as 3D characters within these communities?
Um, I'm honestly, I don't know. I'm on the fence about the VR part. I know
Mm-hmm.
it's been and who knows with AR and Apple getting into releasing their product finally, maybe that will tilt everything into making it really go into that direction.
Yeah.
But um, we're starting to see bits of it. I was watching the opening of the ABBA Voyage show, uh, and that opened I think yesterday or the day before, and it's basically all four ABBA members from the pop group, Swedish pop group,
Yep.
and they were dancing and singing on stage, as they were in the 70s and wearing various costumes, and then the actual members were actually in the audience watching as well. And you're like, oh, okay, it's kind of an interesting time in technology where people are watching and accepting a virtual character as a real performer out there, and they
Yep.
just it's at that point where the technology is so good, and the people are also like willing to embrace it mentally. And I want to point out these guys in Hong Kong that we're actually talking to. They're called Gather.town. I don't know if you've seen them, but Gather.town is a 2D pixelated space. Kind of like it's kind of like a cozy sim Stardew Valley kind of a place, but they have functions for you to have meetings, chat, and play a few games. And my partner and I actually used it to hold video conference meetings with business clients, and they love it. It's so instead of just two, multiple video screens, it's multiple video screens framed in a 2D pixel playground.
That's cool.
And then you can all walk together into a little conference room and talk, or you can walk right up to various people and talk. But otherwise, you can just walk around and do stuff. And I thought that's I don't know if there's a practical thing behind it, but it's a great experience.
I think that's what Facebook wanted to kind of like do with Meta and stuff like that. But I mean, people are seeing Meta as kind of like a big failure, even though technically it's not ready yet.
Yeah, I think it's too soon to say, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think any of us are hurting Zuckerberg's feelings. He's just looking at his billions of dollars and going, oh no, and crying while he's just holding his money, just bricks of
nothing's
cash.
been. Has anything actually been? They've promoted a few things, but nothing's actually launched yet.
I mean, they were promoting the Oculus partnership, everything. They're basically promoting kind of everything to push it. They're trying to build the ecosystem. They're not trying to build everything. They're trying to build an ecosystem and people building around it. So, for example, somebody bought a virtual real estate. So in the metaverse, they bought virtual real estate next to Snoop Dogg, a mansion that exists only online, and they use NFTs in order to verify its ownership for $900,000, $950, I think, something like that. Somebody bought that.
Yeah.
Now, I hate that so much. I hated that story so much. Like I wanted to be like, okay, cool. I gotta be open minded. I hated it so much because like, who spends $1 million on virtual real
$10
estate?
million.
Yeah,
No,
exactly.
that's 10%. That's 10% of your. I'm not gonna spend 10% of my wealth, which is like $50. I'm not spending that money on anything, right? Unless it's like super super important. But I mean, it was weird for me technically, right? I don't quite see the. And again, this is partly why we want to talk to you as well, Edmund, because what we can't, if you can't envision it, right, it's really difficult to actually place a value on something.
Yeah, and the reason why you can't envision it and you probably don't understand it is because right now it's all about speculation as far as certain metaverse platforms are concerned. People and with a lot of metaverse NFT projects, not all, but a lot of NFT projects, especially NFT gaming projects, they like to say it's play to earn, and it's gonna be great, and it's and then you have to stop and ask yourself, like, but what's the game? What's the game experience? How are you getting excited for a game just because it's play to earn? I mean, basically, if you go to a casino, the jackpot machine is a play to earn. It's a play to earn game.
I lost $5 in the casino recently. I'm not happy
right.
about that.
Only
I genuinely did lose.
That's
I was in Australia, so
that's
there was
not
literally
bad.
just you just
5
walk
is
in.
not bad.
Man, I don't gamble, man. There's a lot of gamblers in my family.
So
It's a downward spiral from there.
yeah, yeah, I'm terrible at those. But anyway, with NFT speculators, they're there for the speculation, right? They're there in the hopes that why do I spend 1 million? Because I think this is going to be worth 5 million, in a
Mm.
year's time or whatever it is,
Yep.
and that's why
Yep.
I do it. No, for no other reason. Uh, like, do I want to impress Snoop Dogg? I don't think so. I don't think that's. Are they
Actually,
particularly? I don't know.
I want to be Snoop's friend though. Let's be fair. I do want to be
And
Snoop's friend. I think we all want to be Snoop's friend at some point.
Sure, yeah, can pop over and ask for, do you have a cup of sugar?
there's
Corona
this
Virtual
Light,
bloke
I
sugar.
think.
who went. This guy who went viral. I'm not sure if you guys have seen it, where he spends every waking hour in the metaverse, and he talked about how I think he lives with his mum, maybe, but
Sounds
he
about right.
gets a little bit. He said he got a job in the metaverse, but then he got fired, so he lives
Oh
on very
dear.
little money. But he spends every moment in a virtual reality world because he doesn't like real life, apparently. And that kind of stuff may get more and more common, maybe. And maybe if you're just really absorbed in that whole environment and that is your new home, then
Aren't there
Yeah.
you
movies
put
like
money
that?
into it.
The one with
Uh,
Bruce Willis.
Bruce Willis was that one?
Yeah, he was basically everyone has a physical avatar that like a robot that travels
Die
all
Hard.
that basically lives a life. Sorry, what's
Die
it called?
Hard.
I think it
No,
was
no.
what in the last 5 years. It was one of those Willis movies from the last 5 years, something like that.
Though I think it's the last 10 years because I remember the movie because one of the songs on the soundtrack was from a band called Breaking Benjamin, and I was a big fan of Breaking Benjamin. So
Okay,
that's the
okay,
reason I know the movie.
okay.
I'll put the link of the because it's bugging me now. I'm gonna find the movie. I'll put the link to the movie in the show notes. But
Actually,
yeah, I mean, yeah, Edmund, sorry,
no,
Karen.
we're gamers, so we grow up with games, and
Yeah,
our parents at one point or another would have said, "Why you spending your time on a game? You should go out, right?
yeah,
Play with
that's
real,
true.
you know, why,
I've
why,
heard that a few times.
right?" So for me, I mean, the metaverse is just another version of that. If it helps the person cope with life, whatever he's going through, great. I mean, he might have like social, phobias and stuff like that. And so if you are able to, and I think that's one of the reasons why the new generation, um, have taken to social media and digital media to interact, because it is easier to meet people, talk to people, and do stuff digitally than in the real world,
Hmm.
right? So I'm, as long as it helps the person, yeah, it's great. It's another tool in your toolkit to deal with
Do you
life.
guys remember Second Life? I think they were
Yeah,
like the
Yeah,
Second
yeah,
Life
yeah, yeah, yeah. Of
it's
is
course.
still
very
around.
old, but it's still around.
Yeah,
Are you on
Yeah.
it?
I'm not. It's gone a bit weird. The people that are still in Second Life are
Oh,
very unique
oh,
communities.
It's
oh
like
man, that was
post-apocalyptic
so.
people.
Yeah, it's really specific. No, you're right. There are games that still exist from like 20 years ago that really haven't changed that much, but the communities have been there for 20 years, so they're
Yeah,
super specific. Oh yeah, that's crazy. That's
it's like
creepy though.
evolution, right? If it's like you discover this island where it's been cut off from society and it's just
It's
evolved
still
in their
there.
own
What?
way, and
You guys
it's
are still
become,
around.
yeah, but they're very different from the rest of society. That it feels a bit like Second Life is, like we've left it alone and it's evolved into its own thing.
Oh, I
But
just
I
had a horrible
remember.
thought. I just had a horrible thought, Dave. Sorry, before you carry on. Someone from who is in the community is going to hear this, and is going to come after you, me, and Edmund just really hard because we just
I
shat
didn't
on
say
Second
anything
Life for
bad
you.
about it.
No, it's
I
unique.
compliment.
Oh, I
Whatever,
was
whatever
shitting on
makes
because
you,
I said
whatever
it.
makes you happy. Okay, now go off the turn.
I'm bringing both of y'all down with me. By the way, just
No,
FYI, right? I'll
All
put
right.
in the show notes that Edmund was just like behind the scenes. Edmund was shitting on it, and Dave just said some really racist stuff about Second Life.
I can
Sorry,
never
Dave.
step into Second Life again. Thanks, guys.
I
Dave, you had a
remember
question?
I'll be
back
virtually
when I
tarred
was
and
in
feathered.
when I was in uni. I met a woman in Second Life. I thought she could have been a woman, but I heard her speak, and it was, yes, there's a woman. And we flew around, we talked, and I thought this is really nerdy. This is really weird. This is
Mm-hmm.
kind of messed up. I don't want anyone to ever find out about this. But
And here you are.
and here I am. But the point is, like, it didn't care how we look like. Well, it just our avatars looked interesting. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter. Maybe if she just talked, if I didn't hear her voice, it wouldn't have mattered what her gender was. And yet we formed this kind of bond, even if it was for a very short time.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's very interesting. That may and now, like, if it's more accessible to people, if it's less of a nerdy thing, it still kind of is weird, but it may just like close a lot of it may break a lot of boundaries between our physical selves and
Actual
what
human
holds us back.
connection.
Yeah.
Actual
Yeah.
human connection, basically.
But I mean,
Yeah.
it's been happening in very subtle ways, right? If you think about it, how people relate to each other on Facebook, right? I check out your profile, I check out blah 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 blah. It's a new way of how I assess people, how I relate to people that wasn't there before. In the old days, I see you, you look kind of clean, like you have a bath, and you're free of disease. That's probably you're
I'm not
safe.
sure. I'm not sure if Dave has had a bath
You
at any
can't
point.
reveal all diseases
Virtual
with your clothes on.
virtual bath. But nowadays, right, that's how people relate to each other digitally through apps, through whatever, and they check your posts and they see your updates and all, and then they make a judgment about, like, do I like this person, etc., etc. So metaverse is just a natural extension of that, maybe in a more lifelike manner, right, and less like
Yep.
text and feed,
Yep.
but like 3D, and then let's talk.
I think the key here is if it's in a more lifelike manner. I think that's what we kind of want to understand. Actually, but borrowing on that, right? And I think I want to take a step back because I think we kind of went off on tangent with Second Life and a few other stuff, right? I'm interested to find out, like, Edmund, what are some of the stuff that you've actually been doing right now, like in the metaverse and stuff like that? I mean, feel free to obviously to censor stuff that you can't talk about,
Okay.
because you're doing something really sensitive and stuff like that, just really illegal stuff. Remove all of those stuff, right?
All right.
The things that you can't talk about.
Oh, yeah. So right now we are producing musical projects on Roblox and Fortnite, and then we're also
That's
looking
cool.
at Decentraland and Sandbox as potential platforms. With Roblox and Fortnite, the interesting thing is the users are already there, and using it for different purposes, for games, etc. And there's already been very successful concerts and shows done.
Yeah, Travis Scott did one, right? That big
Travis
Travis
Scott
Scott one.
did
Yeah.
a very, very successful one.
Yeah.
And the stats behind it are pretty amazing. I think he made, like, don't quote me, but I think he made like 20 million US
Jeez Louise.
for all that collectively. And if somebody even studied his Spotify and his social media, and they shot up by about 1 million people in that week that he performed.
So this was set in Roblox, was it?
This
And
Travis
Fortnite.
Scott's one? Fortnite.
Travis Scott was Fortnite.
Yeah. And then we even had there was another performer. I'm struggling to remember her name, but she was from Northern Europe. And she had her own little Roblox. It's more of a listening / dance party, and it was just a video screen, like almost like a virtual cinema, that you could go in and watch her video. So she wasn't even in Roblox form. It was, wasn't even digital form. It was special video performance that she did, and it was free. And the kids, because Roblox is just kid users, she reportedly earned $1 million from virtual merch. from doing that.
What?
Yeah. And she's not like a big, she's a star, but she's not like a big, huge.
All right, Tong, let's do some dancing.
No,
So
Dave, let's do business for drinks on Fortnite and Roblox, man.
yeah,
We just gotta be on there.
so
Edmund will help us. He'll sort it out.
Fortnite is less open because there's a schedule to it, whereas Roblox is a lot more open. You can just create your own thing and do it there. So that's why Roblox is slightly better.
For the artist, what's required of them? Do they just sing from sitting down on a chair, or do they have, or is it just anything goes, like however they want, how creative they want to be?
It's like do you actually have to invest a lot in building out? Like, do you have to create something for it, or is it something that can just kind of be plug and play?
For this purpose, you kind of need to create something unique for it, but it can range from just doing it as a video, in
pre-recording something
in a virtual space that you design and create, right? And then you create all the
which you can do on Roblox anyway,
virtual
right?
match, correct? All the way to like having giant avatars doing freaky stuff and really interactive environment and
that's the way
having
I like
mini
it.
games and all that kind of stuff. So what it does take quite a bit right now on and because these platforms are not particularly built for music, they're now finding out that music is a great source of revenue, but it's not really built for that. We're looking at building our own music metaverse space that is going to be a lot more accessible, cost effective, will kind of have all the tools you need to create your own little show, and the audience is already there for music, kind of stuff. So that's on the product side. That's what we're starting to build out, because we want it to be accessible to independent artists who don't have Travis Scott kind of budgets, right, to still be able to do something and interact with fans, because we think that's going to be the next MTV.
Yep.
If they don't have Travis Scott budgets, why even try? I'm joking. We do not have Joe Rogan budgets, so we try anyway. So we're always supportive of kind of indie artists anyway. I think we've always been that way.
Well, the digital space is all about niche. As long as you can connect with the right community, you can really build something. I think that's the opportunity there.
Dave, one day we'll find our community. One day. Right now,
one day, beyond me and you,
the ampersand community.
Just two people. Just two people. That's a community.
Looking at each other, which is nothing new.
Second Life, Second Life exile community.
So if you're an independent musician, you just they go to someone like Moo Land, like such as yourselves, and you'll help organize an event like that. Cool.
Yeah, so we have two parts to our business. 99 Misfits is the agency part that will work with artists and brands and create these experiences, and then we'll bring in sponsors and things like that to make it all come together, right? Like a producer, like a show producer, movie producer. And then we have the platform that we're building that we hope will also will have a lot of opportunities for you to build it yourself if you want to. So some artists might be more inclined to figure this out, and because they're native generation to this kind of things, they'll probably surprise us with what they can build. But what we hope to do is provide the tools, right? So we can do pre-designed template assets, kind of like think of a Wix or Squarespace kind of approach to a 3D environment. So we provide you templates that are great, but if you want to take it and modify it and do your own thing, go ahead and do that. You can do that yourself on our platform. So that's the grand vision.
That's exciting.
Okay, now that's really interesting. Dave, you have any questions for Edmund? Anything else you want to ask Edmund?
I just want to say that stuff I'm really interested in, because I know that there's going to be a tipping point where it becomes mainstream. I mean, it's sort of getting there at the moment. Like every 6th or 10th thing I see on TikTok is something about the metaverse, something about virtual
Mm.
reality. So it's definitely getting there.
Oh, that's really specific. 6th or 10th.
Yeah, I count
Really
everything.
specific numbers. Really
Every seventh one
specific.
is very upsetting, very strange.
I
And I
do
forward
feel
it straight
that
to you, Tone.
there is a push and pull to it, right? So the pull is obviously new experience, kind of fun and interesting, just like gather.town. I think that's kind of a fun thing that we found that I think we'll continue using for a while. But the push is like current social media is just not working for many people. I know, people, I know my kids' friends are like consciously getting off social media for mental health reasons because it's just not, they can see it's not healthy, even though they are native
Yeah.
to that thing. So there's a push in that people
Yeah.
know, okay, this is not what we want, but if somebody gives a good enough alternative, I think that's where they'll start to go.
I mean, that's kind of the next big push, right? At least for Web 2.0. It's kind of like, and probably Web 3 as well. They're probably going to try to
Yeah.
integrate all of that together.
Yeah. So I guess
Um,
someone like Meta, is trying to not lose the people as they transition and be the next, be the Web3 as well as the Web 2.
I just had a vision of Mark Zuckerberg just looking worried, but you can't tell because his face doesn't change. He just stares at you the whole time. I just had that vision of him just doing that, and yeah, I don't feel bad for him, but I'm a bit
Yeah,
worried.
these
Like
you get these
he's
visions
probably
frequently,
heard
or
this.
just Mark Zuckerberg's face just watching you.
Well,
Because he is watching you.
in the virtual
Yeah, just-
space, I think his virtual avatar they might have expressions for him. They might have created expressions for him, facial
he'll be-
expressions. So
he
he'll be
probably
more
didn't like it.
approachable.
He probably just
And
didn't like it. He's like, no, too much face movement.
And then he
He's
surfs
everywhere.
away.
He's just everywhere. Imagine if he's just everywhere. You open a drawer in the metaverse and there's just a photo frame of Mark Zuckerberg and he's just watching you.
He's actually trying to be more relatable nowadays. I've noticed a trend, right, where people are like, oh, Mark Zuckerberg like messaged me and stuff. I thought it was like a fake thing, but he's actually messaging like meme accounts and stuff directly, and
Saying
like
what?
asking people to share stuff. So like, there's this famous Instagram account, Influencers in the Wild.
Mm-hmm.
It basically is like videos and pictures of influencers doing really stupid
Yeah,
things to try and
it's
like
funny.
gain clout, right? He sent a message to them to post a picture of him taking a picture himself in a hot spring. And everyone's like, oh, it's fake, right? Like this guy just pulled it out. So he literally had to take screenshots of the messages from Mark Zuckerberg saying, hey, thought you might like it. Here you go. He wasn't like just doing like weird stuff. He was literally just sends it to. I've seen a few of those on and off. I think
Okay.
he's trying to be more relatable because people have told him, you're a robot. Stop it.
You've just given some people in Nigeria ideas.
Hi, my name's Mark, and I want to give you some money. Please send me your bank account. Actually, so Edmund, we kind of do a thing, right, where so our podcast also, and I think maybe this is like introduction to our podcast as well, is it's kind of a learning platform for people as well, because if you're anything like us, and I think our listeners kind of mirror who we are as well, is you're kind of looking to learn and new things, and that's why we always try and talk about things we have no clue about, because then we learn when we talk to you about these things.
Right.
Do you have any what do you have do you have any books or any recommendations on what people should read, even if it doesn't have to be metaverse related, but like just things that you've read that you thought was really impactful to your life? Can be fiction, non-fiction, business, inspiration, whatever it is.
Wow. There was one particular book that I studied, that I read, that was recommended to me in university when I was doing design, and it was called Ways of Seeing, if I'm not wrong, by John Berger.
Okay.
And it was basically talking about understanding and appreciating how people interact with design. And if I'm not wrong, in that particular book, he talked about lines of desire as an example. And lines of desire are, can you imagine if you, and this happens a lot in Singapore, where they build all these concrete footpaths, and then there's grass, and they're all like nicely perpendicular, and people are supposed to walk this way. They turn right 90 degrees, and they you know. But what happens in reality is people just cut across the grass, and in time form these diagonal, dirt paths. So those are like lines of desire. So I think it's always kind of become a little bit of a philosophy for me to not judge, but kind of understand why, as you say, like why does the person buy a virtual house and spend so much money? It has to make sense for them, and what is driving that, and not dismiss it as illogical, because it's always logical to somebody, and as long as we understand it, maybe we get a bit of insight. So everyone in Second Life is probably, there's a logic to why they're still there and enjoying themselves.
We just really abuse the Second Life community.
Yeah, we just need to understand them, and hope they don't kick us out.
Hey,
Edmund's trying to apologize to avoid that. Any other books that you want to recommend? It doesn't have to be a book. If it's a video, if it's anything any resources, anything that you felt was really impactful, because we like to share these kind of stuff as well.
No, I find these days things move so fast. I just watch YouTube a lot. I just like devour and just listen to all kinds of.
Any channels or any particular stuff that you watched that was really impactful? Because that's actually quite interesting. I think books are really important, but it's starting to be slightly superseded now by you're learning a ton from watching YouTube. YouTube to me is becoming an educational aspect, right? Versus an entertainment aspect solely.
I watch Gary Vee a lot, probably more than I should.
Gary Vee's channel.
Yeah.
Oh man, the guy who hustles too much.
Hustle porn, I think somebody called it. It's I like his practical approach. I don't watch it all the time, but once in a while I watch it and go, okay, it's got some good ideas here and there. But
so Gary Vee?
Yeah, Gary Vee, again, if you're really starting out, I like his very common sense approach to Web3. He's got decent ideas. Yeah.
Anyone else that you think has some good stuff?
Nothing in particular. Like I said, I go with the algorithm. I use the force. I just close my eyes.
Got it.
And then
so business over drinks. Business over drinks.
Business over drinks. Especially
business over drinks.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry,
YouTube. Okay, got it.
Missing the cue.
A little bit of shameless self-promotion right there.
Business over drinks. Remember that. Can open a business over drinks place in Second Life, and
Yeah, no, I mean that'd be cool. Second Life, we'll do like a show on Roblox.
Yeah,
and maybe something on Fortnite.
By the time the algorithm gets through this podcast, I think a lot of Second Life people will suddenly, hey, why is this popping out on my feed?
I'm gonna kill you. No, it's different. Maybe. David, anything else you want to ask Edmund before we let him go?
No, I just want to thank you for your time, Edmund. And if people want to follow what you're doing and find out more about your projects, where should they go?
Well, they can find us on 99 Misfits. Or you can get in touch with me through velvetengine.com for my.
Okay, so we'll put links to 99 Misfits and velvetengine.com on our website, and then we'll just let everybody know how to find you, and we'll put your mobile number, your LinkedIn account,
especially the Second Life people.
My Second Life avatar.
We'll put all the stuff online.
Yeah.
Anyway, Edmund, thank you so much. This is really
this has been fun, guys.
Educational.
Yeah. Enjoy your drinks.
Thanks. And for everyone else,
thanks for your time.
Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to follow us. We're everywhere. We're watching you. We're just like Mark Zuckerberg. So search Business Over Drinks. And don't forget to subscribe to our email. We do have regular promotions. So do check us out. Go to businessoverdrinks.com and just go scroll down and subscribe to our mailing list. See you guys.
All right.
Cheers.